Hey, Retcon Raider here, and welcome back to episode 59. We were just ambushed by orcs while escorting a caravan to Groninvest, so I guess we're hitting the ground running today. Okay, let's see here. We're only up against 10 orcs, but I see at least 5 orc warriors in their lineup, so this is going to be a pretty tough fight. We'll start off by trying to soften up the little guys before they can reach our front line. Fox just put an arrow through an orc young's arm, and Bunny finishes off the orc with a second shot. Rowan puts a crossbow bolt through an orc berserker's side. Okay, we've got a good look at the rest of the orcs. It looks like we're up against 3 orc young, a wounded berserker, and 5 orc warriors. Spears at the ready, just to hold them off for an extra turn or two. And the orc warriors are now approaching our line. We'll have contact next turn. We could move up to meet the orcs. I just don't really see any benefit in doing that. So, for now, we'll just cycle into round 2. Fox puts an arrow through an orc's chest, then kills it with his follow-up shot, before landing a glancing blow on an orc warrior. An orc young engages our front line, stunning I got. Potato puts arrows in an orc's side and shoulder. Mark kills the badly injured orc, then lands a glancing hit on another. Roderick lays into the orc in front of him, quickly shredding through its health and armor and breaking its morale. Bunny puts 2 arrows into an orc warrior's shield. She doesn't injure it, but she does at least throw it off balance. And we have contact. An orc warrior has engaged with Roderick and Dominic. The other orc warriors seem to be taking a more cautious approach. They're holding back and shield walling. Dominic readies his dagger. He slips a light flesh wound past the orc's guard. He's not going to inflict any serious injuries that way, but he will chip away at the orc's morale, which is the important part. Kazarin and Reinhard engage as well. Reinhard cuts down a wounded orc young, and lands a light hit on an orc warrior. Oh, make that 2. Reinhard actually just did serious morale damage. He's already got 2 of the orc warriors trying to flee. Oswald moves in. It's too risky for him to use the Warbrand right now, so he'll stick with making dagger strikes. Round 3. Our archers are up, so they start firing through the ranks. I'd prefer to target orcs that aren't broken yet, but these guys all have shields, so we should really just go for the easiest targets. I got his up. He moves in and strikes out with his dagger. He lands 1 solid armor-piercing hit. Rowan moves up and fires his crossbow through the ranks. And he lands a pretty solid hit as well, destroying the last of an orc warrior's armor. Roderick readies his greatsword, killing the wounded orc warrior in front of him. Woe lashes out, landing a solid helmet hit. Mark fires through the ranks, landing a decent hit as well. Oof. Oswald blocks an attack with his shield, but his shield takes some serious damage. That's a relic, so we'll switch him off to his Warbrand to keep it from being destroyed. He lands a couple of light hits, stripping the rest of the armor off another warrior. Kazarin lands a couple of armor-piercing strikes, but becomes exhausted, and the orc ends up shoving him out of the way. Now we've got an archer in peril. I think that's Bunny. Reinhardt lands a light hit on the broken Orc Warrior. And the Orc Warrior tries to flee. Igot slows it down with a flurry of strikes, but none of them get through its armor. Roderick is up again. The Orcs have foolishly engaged him, so he readies another strike and tears through their armor with his greatsword. Unfortunately, it does look like exhaustion is already starting to set in on some of our brothers. Round 4. Our archers are up. They continue firing through the ranks. They're inflicting light armor damage, but more importantly, they're debuffing the orcs. Every hit imposes a minus 10% penalty on the orcs' attacks, which goes a long way towards making sure the orcs can't land crippling wounds on us. Woe lands a couple of hits on his opponent, breaking his morale. Igot lands a quick blow with his dagger, then readies his great axe, and lands an even heavier hit on the same opponent. Oswald grips his warbrand and sets his sights on the same opponent, and Roderick finishes it off, while also slicing open the arm of the orc behind it. Oswald just took a light helmet hit. Dominic lands a quick hit on the badly wounded orc warrior, but he's too exhausted to continue. Kazarin cuts down the wounded orc, and now he's struggling with exhaustion too. Fortunately, at this point, all of the remaining orc warriors are trying to flee, so we should have plenty of time to poke them to death with our daggers. Orc warriors are tough, but the fact that we've given all of our brothers the fearsome perk really helps. Even though our individual dagger strikes are relatively weak, each time we pierce an orc's armor, it ends up devastating their morale. Moving it to round 5. We'll probably defeat these guys in another round or two. Rowan lands a light hit against a fleeing orc. Woe deftly cuts down a badly wounded orc warrior with his dagger. Our archers start bombarding the fleeing orc with arrows. Their attacks can't penetrate his armor, but with enough firepower, we should be able to just tear his armor to pieces. Igot slices through an orc warrior's defenses, severing an artery. Oswald surges forward, killing an orc warrior as he passes it, and engaging the other orc as well. Roderick moves up, readying his dagger. And he drops the last of the orc warriors. Well done. No level ups, and it looks like Roderick or Orc Mortar lived up to his name, pulling MVP for the battle. There's no real significant loot aside from a couple of orc weapons, but we're right outside Groninfest, so we might as well grab everything. Now let's wrap up this caravan escort mission, and then we'll see if we can pick up a noble contract. We definitely want to go all in with this noble war. Groninfest greets you with a swarm of daytailers looking for work. The caravan leader doles out crowns to men here and there, their grubby hands going to the carts to unload the cargo. When he's finished with the throngs of men, the leader turns to you. He's got a satchel in hand. "And this is for you, mercenary." You take it. A few of the daytailers watch the exchange of monies like cats would a dangling mouse. Of course, that only gives us a very meager payday, but we were heading to Groninfest anyway. And this way it gives the town the well-supplied modifier, which decreases local prices, so we might pick up a few items while we're here. Nothing's really jumping out at me, but I'll revisit the shops once we've taken a look at this noble contract. A woman offers you a flower when you walk into town. This is against the usual response, which is shutter the windows and hide the kids. You take the flower and she sways her skirt a little before prancing away. A man comes up to you. "Sorry for that, sir. The townsfolk seem to have taken a liking to you. Count Balin von Rabenholt as well, seeing as how he's been looking for you since the moment he heard you were in town." Count Balin von Rabenholt is humoring a wench when you walk into his room. She quickly gathers her things and leaves in a hurry, diverting her eyes from yours. The rather smug nobleman pours himself a glass of wine. "Don't mind her, she's friends with my wife, that's all." He sets the decanter back on its desk. "Speaking of just friends, why don't you be a friend of mine and go and raid House Rosenving's territories?" The man wobbles as he steps before sitting on the edge of his desk. He sniffs his fingers, shrugs, and drinks the wine. "Go into their lands and destroy as much as you can for 5 days, then head on back. I mean, you can stay out there if you want, but I highly suggest coming back, because their armies won't be putting up with your shite for long. Noblemen don't fancy raiders with much regard. I'm sure you understand the politics there." Hey, it looks like we've already got our first raiding mission. I was looking forward to doing one of these. The pay's decent, not great, 3,000 crowns. But, like I said, we're going all in on this noble war, so we'll accept the contract. Let me take care of some quick off-screen bookkeeping, and then it's time for the Raiders to live up to their namesake. You step off the path to take a piss. While relieving yourself, a man suddenly appears out of the dripping bush, although ostensibly dry. You leap back and draw a dagger, but the man puts his hands out. "Whoa there, sellsword. I'm a messenger of House Eisenstein. I am to suggest, and only suggest, to you an offer. Join us. You will assume first priority whenever we are in need of your services, meaning the best contracts with the best pay. And let me tell you, we will always be in need. To help sweeten the deal, I was to offer you this." He slowly holds out a masterfully crafted weapon. You tell him to give you a moment and go back to finish pissing. Thoughts rush through your head as something else rushes out your other head. Inappropriate. Well, it's an intriguing offer and I would like another named item. But I'm pretty sure accepting this offer would immediately turn House Rabenholt hostile. So, you waste your time. Be gone or you'll hang from that tree. Though I do wish there was an option to simply take the weapon away from him. Unfortunately, that does really seem to imply that House Eisenstein will be actively joining the war at some point. I was really hoping it would stay between Rabenholt and Rosenving, because we've actually got a pretty good reputation with some of the towns in Eisenstein's territory. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to play it by ear. Anyway, let's keep heading north. Looks like the first thing on our to-do list is to burn down some fishing huts near Sea Camp. Fox comes running down one of the hillsides. He seizes up next to you, drawing for air. "Sir, they..." He straightens up. "I need to exercise. But that's not what I came to tell you. There's a very large group of enemy soldiers coming our way right this minute. I think they know exactly where we are, sir." You nod and tell the men to prepare themselves. "Be on your guard." Well, that was to be expected. We're right on the edge of Sea Camp. I don't think it's actually appeared just yet, but once we burn down these fishing huts, a large and powerful enemy patrol will appear and start following us as we continue through Rosenving territory. This, however, is going to be a short and sad fight. I feel a little bad picking on peasants, but we're just doing our job, and they really should have just run away when they saw us coming. There they are. Yeah, this is going to make for a pretty quick fight. The peasants boldly charge in. Most of them aren't even wielding weapons. And I can't help but notice the music is pretty melancholy all of a sudden. I guess they're really committed to making me feel bad about this. Mark just dropped our first peasant. Eraton moves up to get a clear line of sight. The rest of our brothers move up into striking range as well. Kazarin hacks through a peasant's tunic. Rondis moves in, terrifying all of the peasants. Belfontaine pierces a peasant's chest with his dagger. And round 2. Wojtek fires into the peasants' ranks, killing 1, 2 of them. A peasant moves forward and feebly punches Reinhard's shield. 3 of the peasants are trying to run now. Mark cuts one of them down, sinks an arrow into another. Vlad pierces the chest of one of the more defiant peasants. Eraton moves up, spear at the ready. And he cuts the defiant peasant down. Then Kazarin moves in, cutting down one of the remaining peasants, and gut-wounding the other, with Belfontaine quickly finishing off the wounded man. No level-ups, no loot, but that was to be expected. It was a pretty quick and sad fight, but like I said, we're here to do a job, and now it's done. The fishing huts have been destroyed, so let's continue on to our next target, which appears to be either Weedfest or Torvaholm. Okay, it looks like our next stop is Torvaholm. And welcome back. We're still on our way to Torvaholm, but on the way there we spotted this small army of bandits. So let's slaughter some people who actually deserve it. Okay, it looks like we're up against a pretty straightforward lineup here. Looks like 10 raiders, 4 marksmen, and Henrik the Brigand, who unfortunately isn't really carrying very good gear. He's got a closed chainmail coif, a reinforced chain hauberk, and that looks like an ordinary boar spear. The brigands are, of course, rushing our front line. Fox puts an arrow through a brigand raider's arm. The rest of our archers didn't really have any luck, but that's fine. Our frontliners will be engaging the bandit line in a second. Alright, let's get in there. Woe moves in, but misses his opening shot. Roderick steps up, engaging a bandit with a polearm. He readies his greatsword, and decapitates the man in a single swing. Oswald considers his targets for a second, then moves in to engage the other bandit with a polearm. He readies his warbrand, and slices through the man's armor. Igot moves up, engaging another bandit. He readies his great axe, and slices open the bandit's leg. Dominic hops Oswald, engaging 3 bandits at once. But he misses his shot. Kazarin moves in, keeping the bandits contained on the south. He takes a couple of swings before putting his dagger through a bandit's knee. Reinhard moves up, engaging the bandits on the north and quickly killing one of them, before putting his dagger through another brigand's arm. A bandit crossbowman just jumped up on an elevated perch. That could be a problem. Moving into round 2. Alessandro takes a light hit. Roderick takes a light hit as well. Alessandro returns fire. He misses his shots against the enemy crossbowman, but he's keeping him suppressed. Wojtek puts an arrow in the enemy crossbowman's side, then kills him with his second shot. Fox surveys the battlefield, then sets his sights on the enemy marksman. He puts an arrow through a bandit bowman's shoulder. Bunny takes aim at an enemy marksman as well, putting an arrow through the man's arm. Oswald just took a hit there. Kazarin took a hit as well. These guys are sneaking in a lot of armor hits. Nothing serious, though. Dominic is stunned. Rowan takes aim with his crossbow, then punches a hole through a bandit's hand. Igot moves in, but can't get past his opponent's shield. Oswald moves up as well, immediately breaking the morale of the bandit in front of him. He cuts the man down, then moves up to engage the bandit leader. We're not ready to take him on just yet, so Oswald switches off to his dagger and shield. Roderick takes a great swing with his sword, cleaving open two of the bandits. Then he switches off to his shield as well. Kazarin lays into the bandits in front of him. He punctures a bandit's side, then puts his dagger through the man's arm as well. Moving into round 3. The enemy marksmen advance. Henrik makes a token attack against Oswald. Roderick takes another light hit, but his armor's still eating most of it. Our archers are up. Fox quickly cuts down one of the bandit bowmen, then puts an arrow in another bowman's chest. Wojtek puts an arrow through a bandit's side. Rowan moves up and fires through the ranks. No luck, though. Looks like most of the bandits are starting to go on the defensive. Woe cuts down a wounded raider, then puts his pike through another raider's shoulder. And Kazarin took a pretty nasty hit there. That's a rarity. They don't usually get past his defenses. Oswald gut wounds a raider, then kills him with his second strike. Igot decapitates a bandit on the north, breaking the morale of two other bandits. Not that he's about to let them go. He lands a quick flesh wound with his dagger. Dominic sinks his dagger into a bandit's side, then moves up past him, and puts his dagger through a bandit bowman's shoulder. Roderick readies his greatsword again. He cuts down a fleeing bandit, then slices open the other bandit's arm. Reinhardt finishes off the badly wounded bandit with a flurry of dagger strikes. Kazarin moves past a broken bandit. He's exhausted, but he finds just enough energy to finish off a bandit with a long axe. Now that Dominic has joined him, Oswald risks making a couple of attacks on the bandit leader, and he puts his dagger through the man's hand. Very nice. Round 4. The brigand leader lands a light hit on Dominic. Wojtek starts firing into the fleeing bandits, cutting down two of them. Nice and efficient. Fox doesn't have any open shots, so he starts advancing. In fact, all of the archers are going to have to advance at this point. Rowan reloads and starts moving to get a clear shot. Woe moves up as well. Dominic cuts down the last bandit bowman. I got moves up to start surrounding Henrik the Brigand. Roderick holds back for the moment. His armor's pretty beat up. Kazarin joins the fight against Henrik, and the bandit leader's morale is starting to waver. Reinhard moves around and puts his dagger through Henrik's shoulder. Dominic pushes Henrik to death's door, and I got finishes him off. Kazarin hits level 14, congratulations. And MVP goes to Wojtek with 3 kills. There's a decent amount of loot, but nothing really notable. Like I said earlier, Henrik wasn't carrying anything particularly notable. We did get his armor, but it's nothing all that special. We'll take everything we can carry, and then we'll continue heading towards Torvaholm. It appears as though Eraton, the old sellsword, has a little bird following him around, young Reinhard. Now in the company of mercenaries, the apprentice must want to learn from those with plenty of experience on the road earning blood money. While they train, you notice that the sellsword puts most of his emphasis on exercising one's body. Being faster than your opponent and outlasting him are just as important as putting a blade through the brain box. The earnest lad seems increasingly sturdy, earning some sense of vigor you did not notice before. Now this is a fantastic event. I actually didn't think we could trigger this event without having a hedge knight in the group, but apparently it can be triggered with sellswords as well. That gives Reinhard a +4 bonus to 3 different stats, and he was already a pretty solid shield brother to begin with. At any rate, we're coming up on the 30-minute mark, so let's go ahead and pause things here. We'll pick up next time as we lay siege to Torvaholm. Hey, Retcon Raider here. Well, things were a little slow today, but at least there were a few highlights. We took down a mob of orc warriors, cut through an army of bandits, and started our first raiding mission. Though I do feel a bit bad about slaughtering all of those peasants. Maybe I should have at least let a few of them get away, though I suppose leaving survivors might have actually caused extra damage to our reputation. I guess I'll have to look into that. Regardless, we've now officially aligned ourselves against House Rosenbing. That means we're going to find ourselves being chased by their soldiers, mercenaries, and bounty hunters in the near future. We actually did end up spotting the enemy patrol that's following us, but since it's a full company of 36 soldiers, I immediately ordered the raiders to head in the opposite direction. Hopefully we can keep outrunning them until we're done with our business in House Rosenbing's territory. Of course, that doesn't mean that we'll be avoiding every fight, just the ones that are likely to get us killed. If I recall correctly, these raiding missions usually start off easy, as we saw when we raided Sea Camp, but each subsequent location we hit will be more heavily guarded. We'll probably end up running into enemy mercenaries when we reach Torvaholm, and there's likely to be a small army of noble soldiers guarding the final location. That means we're in for some pretty tough fights in the next episode. But, like I said before, that actually gives us a pretty huge opportunity to get all sorts of equipment upgrades. War may be hell, but that doesn't mean we can't find ways to take advantage of it. This is Retcon Raider, signing off. Thanks for watching. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Battle Brothers, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, or the fan-run wiki. Links are in the description.